Hello, everybody. Welcome into our in-between draft segment here. We're going to do an around the horn style show. I brought on a few of our wisest counsel that I could pull on a 10 minutes notice and then turned into a 30 minutes notice. Starting us off with the person who was trying to get me to do draft content the most, JFK. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, but I'm not sure I would call Acorn one of our wisest. But I get
He's
you as
He
your
was
intro.
he was one of the he talking term. He was one of the three wisest I can pull within 10 minutes. So that that is his. And then number two, person to respond to me, Sandy. How's it going?
You know, I definitely also have to agree that for the wisest members, don't really know how I ended up here. Especially don't know how Acorn ended up here. But I guess we're in for a good time at the very least.
And then of course the aforementioned many times Acorn. How's it going tonight? Did
It's going well, and I'd like to resent the notions of my lack of wisdom. Not that I don't agree with them. It's just it hurts my feelings. So
and
I
as
just want
as
to.
previously stated, because of the delay in the show, Acorn will start with -1 point. Um, he will have to earn it back to regain, unless he brought me the drug money. Did you get the drug money for me, Acorn?
Things went wrong. Work in progress.
Okay, -2.
I'll get. Oh.
So let's get right into it here. Our leaders are JFK and Sandy at 0 points, Acorn at -2. Our first topic here is going to be an open-ended topic because they're so fun. It's just quarterback is all we wrote. Just QB. So the floor is yours. We will start in the order that I announced you in, and then we will let the winner of the round, picked by me, pick who goes first, essentially. So I'll be hosting this thing. JFK, you can go ahead and kick us off. About 30 seconds, hoping for, but I'll cut you off if you're going too long.
So much pressure. Okay, especially with the topic QB. Okay. Uh, my prediction. I'll go with. I have two. One is that I think Will Howard and Tyler Show, if I'm pronouncing that right, are going to go early fourth round. Um, Show, it's kind of unbelievable at this point that he didn't go before because the hype has him early in the second round at this point. But he's going to go early fourth, surely. And I think Will Howard will be up there as well. And I think QBs will go in general fourth and fifth round. There will be a big run on those guys. And then I think Dart in the second round could really be the steal of the draft here. Early second for the Patriots. Dart is a guy I had on my board actually in the first round. Snuck in right at the end, but impressive for a QB and one who doesn't test sneak in there. But Dart, yeah, I think he could be a really solid quarterback.
All right, so we went a minute. That's fine. We'll go with that. So we got a little bit of a birdshot strategy from JFK there. As we pass it on to Sandy, what do you got for us? QB.
All right. I definitely went way more specific with this one. So I'm honing in on Dylan Gabriel here. I think that we're going to see a run on QBs as teams just want to take their shot, see what they can get. 436 to the Chicago Bears. I think Dylan Gabriel is going to be the guy they're going for there. I think they just take a chance. He's a bit old, lefty, not really some people's style, but highly reputable source here says that he is a highly respected teammate and that he's hosted Airbnb bonding retreats for teammates and that he drives the same Chrysler Pacifica van that he's had for years, partly because it has room for his family and teammates. And I think that's a guy that can thrive studying under Stafford for a bit, give him a couple years, see what can happen. Lock it in. He's going to the Bears.
All right, so a very Chrysler Pacifica focused take. Interesting decision. But I love the shout out of specific pick. Big brownie points there, Acorn, to try to make your case for QB topic in general.
Yeah, I'm just gonna highlight my personal opinion is agree that I think we're going to see both Shao and Howard go off the board relatively quickly here in the fourth. But my opinion is I don't really think we're going to see a run on them, considering, I mean, who's all left? You have Dylan Gabriel and I mean, you got some other guys out there like Graham Mertz, Seth Hannigan, who I will say is a lock to get drafted in like the seventh for sure, just because of he's like that. But I really think once those two guys are off the board, I think the pickings get slim, and I'd book it. We don't see another pick until the sixth for quarterback, but yeah, no complaints on the QBs that have gone already. All of them kind of went where I thought they go. Now, did I have them graded that high? Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing that many more QBs come off the board before we hit the 200s. So
Okay, so scoring here: Acorn minus 1 point for calling out Graham Mertz in a negative light. And then I'm gonna have to award the point to Sandy here. I like the specific call out. Potential future -5 if he does not go to the Bears at that pick specifically. But for this round, I'm gonna reward the boldness and give 1 point to Sandy. So Sandy takes the lead 1, to then 0 for JFK and -3 for Acorn for the disrespect. Um, directly. So Sandy, what would you like? Which order would you like to go in for our next topic?
First off, Bears, please don't fail me. Really need those points. But let's go ahead. Let's have Acorn. You kick us off here for second topic.
Where would you like to go then
Okay.
in that? That was the prompt specifically, threatening to lose the point for you.
Whoa, me? Oh, I get to pick the next topic.
No, you get to pick which order you go in, not who goes where. So you want to go second or third? Then
Oh, I'll go second then.
okay. All
Okay.
right, I will respect just because we'll give leniency the first time. Acorn, you will lead off our second topic, which is positions that are primed for a round 4 run. Specifically, just kind of early in our day as we start off, but we get to the scouting of things. Which positions do you feel are set up the best to go on a run?
that's a great question. My personal pick is probably going to be running back here. I think there are a lot of good backs still sitting out there on the board. You got Devin Neal, Bayshal Tootin, Damian Martinez, Jaden Blue, Trevor Etienne, Brashard Smith, Raheem Sanders, and I could just keep listing guys that I think are all wherever they go. I think it's going to be like, yeah, that makes sense because this draft at the bottom in the kind of day 3 territory here, I think you can take any of these backs anywhere and you're going to be fine. Now, notable exceptions are going to be Ollie Gordon the second. Do not touch him, and Donovan Edwards. Just vibes are bad on those. Otherwise, I think we're going to see a lot of running backs coming off the board in the next 100 or so picks. And yeah, I'll put my hat on that one.
Feeling bold today, aren't we? Sandy, what do you got for us?
I would just like it to be known that I actually said running backs in this chat before Acorn did. So really, he stole my idea.
Well, you kind of lose your credibility when you let him go first. So
Fair, fair. But the proof is in writing. Anyways, I will second the running back take here. I think there are a lot of quality guys that are still out there, and I think at this point, whether you're looking to get some depth, cheap depth for the next 4 years, whether you want to just take some shots on some guys you think can hopefully turn out to be a contributor to your team, I think there's plenty of different styles out there that you can look for, and running back is one where you could see that guy break out first year. Why not take a shot? There's a lot of quality options out there. I think it's just something we see a lot of teams prioritize here early, get that depth locked.
all right. So after back-to-back running backs, JFK, you have the floor for our final take.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Acorn has a lot of hats. I think I'll go with a different position than everyone else, even though I do like a good handful of the running backs here. I'm going to go with offensive tackle. I think it's prime for a run here, just like QB, for very similar reasons. One, there isn't a ton of talent left in the class, and two, it's a very premium position. Here, I wrote some names of guys who I think all of these could go in round 4. All these names. We got Anthony Belton, Emory Jones, Johnny Cornelius, Holland Pierce, Jalen Travis. I could even see Issa Pohl sneaking in there. I mean, it there's good talent here in this grouping, and then there isn't very much afterwards. And I think teams are going to be looking to add a guy who they think can be a future starter in that round.
All right. Well, I do appreciate the different position because the running back was essentially the low-hanging fruit here. But first, I do have to reward Acorn with a -1 for trying to kiss up to the point grader, so he's down to a -4. And JFK, you will receive the point. So we are tied up 1-1. JFK, would you like to pick our order, or well, where you go in the order?
Yeah, I could lead off here, but I kind of liked how it went with Acorn leading off last time. So I'll go with Acorn, then me. Then
I love the game theory. Okay, Acorn. Topic number 3 here. The topic is who is your lowest graded player selected so far?
Lowest graded player is going to be one Savion Williams, wide receiver going to the Raiders in the 3rd round. I had a late 5th round grade on Williams, mainly just due to he's an athlete. He's one of these guys that some teams are going to see and be like, we can line him up everywhere, and oh, he can do everything. But important distinction is, can he do everything well? I do not believe so. I think he's a positionless guy. He's another Laviska Shenault. And Shenault went in the 2nd round in real life, but the results are in the pudding. He's a bad football player, and I don't even think Savion is as good as a prospect as Laviska was. So, yeah, I did not love that pick. I really did not like it in the 3rd. The 4th even, I would have had problems with it, but yeah, yeah.
Shout out Jets legend Laviska Shenault. All right, JFK, you're up.
Yeah, and I won't complain because I did let Acorn go first. My player is also Savion Williams to the Raiders at 74. Um, both the worst value and the worst pick overall. I have a 7th round grade on him on my board. And we actually discussed him in our everyone from that receiver video really coming back eventually, because I discussed not liking Savion Williams in that video as well. But yeah, I mean, Acorn hit on a lot, but he had he had 5 years at TCU and never really put up receiver 1 or really starting receiver in general production. The rushing stuff is probably just a gimmick. It's hard to project that being NFL level. And yeah, he just doesn't seem like he's a very quality player. And I don't really see much value to his game.
All right. Does the Savion Williams hate train continue, Sandy? Who do you got for us?
It will not be continuing here. I'm going to go with pick 71, David Walker to the Commanders. And I don't think it's necessarily the lowest graded player, though I did expect him to probably be going in later round 4. But I think that especially if you look at some of the edges taken after him, really not a big fan of that Walker pick. I'm also just curious what their plans for him are. Last year they ran a 4.3 and might be tough for him to get out there in that 4.3. I think ultimately it's just not a super great pick for them, and especially seeing some of the edges that went after where he did, I think it was a reach. and I think he was overdrafted over a lot of those guys. And ultimately, I think that was a bit of a combo of lowest, not necessarily lowest graded, but he was up there and also just worst value for where he was taken.
All right. Well, I would respect the difference, but it was against my boy, so I cannot award you the point. I'm gonna give a point each for the Savion Williams gang because that was also my lowest graded guy taken. So I do respect the agreeance here of the team. So Acorns back to -3 and JFK at 2, but I will award a bonus point to JFK for having already hated on him before he was drafted on the draft show. So a bonus for him for participating in the pre-draft content. We've got a 3-1 to -3 score here. JFK winning your back-to-back rounds. Starting off with topic 4, what would you like the order to be?
Oh, I get to pick off the tiebreaker there with Acorn off
Well,
the two pick
you got
off
the
the 2 point.
you got the bonus for doing draft content with me, so you get to pick again.
I guess I'll lead it off. Acorn can go last this time.
Okay, sounds good. So our topic number 4 is which is your favorite or best draft of high volume? So this is 5 or more top 100 selections here. Well, I guess not quite top 100 because there's only one comp pick this year. Top 3 round selections here. So 5 or more picks. So these are guys who were drafting a lot. Your favorite of that group.
Yeah, I'm gonna stretch the rules here just a little, hoping to use some of my points for a little leniency here because I'm gonna pick 2 teams because both of these teams I had first round. They had 5 picks exactly, and I had first round grades on 3 of the 5 players they selected. Uh, and those are the Patriots and the Commanders. The Patriots, I had first round grades on Membow, Dart, and Jared Wilson, and almost first round grade on Max Hairston. And the Commanders, I had a first round grade on Mike Green, TJ Sanders, and Tate Ratledge. I did the David Walker pick. I actually thought was fine. I didn't like the Darian Porter or Joshua Farmer picks for either team, but with so many picks, they're not going to align 100% with my board. And I think both of those teams got a lot of valuable players in later rounds. I think Tate Ratledge and Jared Wilson both are absolute steals and going to be long-term starters on offensive lines.
All right, so taking 2 teams is bold. I think maybe it would have been best off running with your Commanders takes. You talked about them the most, but we'll see if the other contestants can capitalize on maybe a lapse in judgment here. Sandy, you're up.
All right. Well, I will be sticking with one team, but I did want to say I thought the Browns had a solid draft there. But the team I'll be going with for the best high volume draft is going to be the Cardinals. I think that while Burden was maybe a little earlier than I anticipated, I still definitely really love the picks that they made. Getting Will Johnson helps lock up that corner room. Burden, along with Higgins, gets some new weapons to really try and get a good supporting cast around Lawrence. And I also liked what they did with Stewart and Robinson, get some developmental guys to hopefully help build up that defense a little more. And I think ultimately that they got some solid guys and they're really hoping to build around Lawrence. And I think that they've given him a pretty good chance to succeed. And especially after that extension, I think I like what they did with their 5 picks.
All right, and Acorn to round us off. Who do you got?
Yeah, my selection, as much as this absolutely pains me to say, and I do mean that quite literally, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos here. Scourton, I was not as high on as some people. I had a late second on him, but I don't hate the pick, not my least favorite pick in the round. Ursery, I loved. I had an early second on him. I think he's going to come in, and I think he'll be I don't know if he's going to be a top 32 tackle right away, but I think he's a top 64 out of the gate. I loved that pick, especially considering their tackle room. Samson, I had a third round grade on him. I think he's going to be a fine running back. Their room is, it's not the worst in the league, but it's not the best. Always can use another shot there. Shamar Turner, again, I had a third round grade on him. Uh, I think he'll be a fine D tackle, good upside pick. But then my favorite pick is Kevin Winston Jr. at the back end of the third. I loved this guy. I had a late second on him. And if I did not go Malachi Starks in the first, Kevin Winston Jr. would be a Green Bay Packer. I think that may be looked on as one of the steals of the draft a couple years down the line. I loved that pick. I think it was a really solid class, hit a lot of needs. I see most of these guys getting a chance to start either out of the gate or within a year or two. So, sadly, good job, Sandy.
This makes me feel terrible about this class, but you know, we'll see how it turns out.
A little reverse psychology for you.
Well, on the theme of pains you to do it, I have to reward Acorn for just picking one team and mentioning no others. So, Acorn, you do receive the point for this round. That puts your score at negative, what, 2 now? So,
Something like
congratulations for that. JFK 3, Sandy 1, and to up the ante here, it is now at least 2 points for each, with bonus points available the rest of the way with these last two. So, more scoring opportunity for some fun. The points are made up anyway. So, and to reward that, Acorn, you are going to get -2 to celebrate the doubling. So you're at -4, and you can pick our order now.
First off, I want it to be known that I am sad. Second off, I'll go first. I'll let JFK go second, and then Sandy, you can go third.
Perfect. Topic 5, a mirror of our topic 4, our best of low volume draft. So this is 4 picks or fewer. Acorn, the floor is yours.
Sometimes you see a pick get made and you just instinctively go, hell yeah. Well, I had one class where they made 2 picks, but both of them were very much hell yeah picks for me. And that's the Houston Texans, taking Gray Zabel and Carson Schwessinger. Both of these guys I loved. I had a late first on Zabel and I had an early second on Schwessinger. I not a whole lot to say. I think Zabel's going to be a starting guard in this league for a long time, and I think Schwessinger was the linebacker to in this class. I think they did not come into this draft with a whole lot of picks. I think they made the most of what they had. So yeah.
Sweet. Love a good hell yeah. Also, I forgot which order you said, so we're going to go with JFK.
You guessed right.
Hell yeah. No negative points for the host this time. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Sadly, though, I will have to be going with the same team as Acorn, the Houston Texans. Yeah, 2 second-round picks, kind of early in the second round, but they got players. I had first-round grades on both of these guys. Gray Zabel, mid-first round grade. He's going to be a guard in the NFL, even though he probably could play tackle, but teams don't even try that. But Zabel will be an elite guard in the NFL, in my opinion. Multiple Pro Bowls, and then Schwessinger. I hadn't looked at him when we recorded our ill-fated video on the linebackers, but I do have him as the number 2 linebacker in the class. Late first round grade on him. And yeah, they just hit 2 really good, really solid, strong players with their picks. Could have gone with a couple other teams, but went with Houston.
You guys just linking up right now. Teaming up on Sandy. Sandy, are you going to be able to fight back better this time?
Well, hate to say it as well, but I think that a division rival here for us really did a good job with their draft, and I think that's going to be the Chargers. They had 3 picks, and I thought they did a really good job with all 3 of them. I really like where they got Loveland. Getting another weapon for Herbert was definitely needed, and they got a good weapon, and I thought they got really good value for him too. I think that Caleb Johnson made me really sad when they took him. Almost kind of regret not taking him at 53, but I really like Caleb Johnson. I think he could come in, probably start right away for him, or at least get some touches there at running back right away. And I also really like them getting Olu at 88 there. I think that's some pretty good value. I like what I think, they have an aging edge room, and I think he can develop well and hopefully step in and be a piece for them on defense. And ultimately came in with 3 picks, one in each round, and I thought they did a really good job getting some needs and also getting quality players with each of those picks.
All right, very good. So I'm going to award Acorn with 1 point for being choosing a good order to not have to go second. This is the second time that it's doubled up, but he gets a bonus point for that. And then I'm going to actually award the 2 points to Sandy because I would pick their draft over the Texans. Maybe a little volume bias still in that, but like Loveland for them would be an awesome fit for them trying to keep that offense afloat as their weapons age. And then, yeah, Olu I was pretty high on, and low moving cost pick. You love to see that as well. So I'm going to go with Sandy for the pick. So we got a 3-3 tie at the top here with Acorn at the bottom. And Acorn, I feel like I've been a little mean to you to start this off. I know you're making me stay up late. I'm an old man. But so real quick, I'm going to give you 15 seconds. Make a pitch for why I should wipe away your negatives.
Pitch for why I should wipe all your negatives. One, I gave you a 90 plus overall corner for a second round pick this year. Two, we're both Wisconsin fans. Share the love. And 3, I've never done anything mean to you in my life.
Okay, well, 3 is a lie, so you get negative 5 points.
Ah!
So that is now JFK and Sandy at 3, and Acorn at negative 6 points now, I believe, if I can do math. So, Sandy, you won the last round. You get to pick the order for our final topic of the night. What do you got for us? What's our order going to be?
I think we'll have JFK go first. Actually, no, I'll go first, JFK second. Acorn can wrap us up.
Okay, perfect. All right, so JFK, the floor is yours with the topic, the worst class so far. It's time to put on our hater hats, everybody.
Well, Sandy said that he was going to be going first, so
I did say that.
Oh shoot, my bad.
might be minus a
I
couple
wrote it down.
points.
I wrote it down. Minus
Oh.
minus infinity points to the host. Sandy, the floor is actually yours. My bad.
Okay. Well, the class that I just gotta say it, I definitely hate this class the most is going to be the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, I get it. You're taking a shot. You're trying to get your franchise QB. RIP Justin Fields, though they did him dirty. But I think especially Donovan Jackson. I think they could have gotten some. I get it. They're trying to build up the O line a bit, but that defense is disgustingly bad. I think bad rating, so grain of salt kind of, but I think they have one player who ended the year higher than an 80 overall, and then they took a quarterback and a guard. So I think the defense could have used a lot of work, and I think they reached on a QB. I'm not that high on him at all. Jackson is. I think he's going to be a quality player, but I just think they could have used some other areas, and ultimately, I'm just definitely surprised that they didn't try and trade back, get more picks, or at least go one defensive player. So the Colts are going to be my biggest loser out of the first 3 rounds.
All right, now for real this time, I think JFK, the floor is yours.
Yeah, for real this time, and it's such a shame to see Acorn lose all his good boy points. But the worst draft, I'm gonna have to go with, and there was no draft that really stood out as being like particularly awful. There were a lot of classes where I was just like, I don't know if anything good's gonna come out of this, or like they got their one good player in the first, but didn't really make anything else happen. And the team I chose to go with is the Dallas Cowboys. They drafted Tyler Warren, who I like as a player, but they drafted him with a top 10 pick, which I do not think he was worth. And there could have gotten a lot better players at the spot, and a lot more valuable players than a tight end. And then Jack Sawyer, I have him barely in my top 100, and Cameron Williams, I don't even have in my top 100. So just no players that I'm higher on. And Tyler Warren, I think he'll be a good tight end, but nothing special, and certainly not worth a top 10 pick. And just really really disappointing class overall, in my opinion, from Dallas.
All right. So we've got one on the Colts, one on Dallas, and Acorn, with the last formalized topic here, last take. See if you can make a comeback here.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm shocked no one else made this pick. Thank you for leaving it. My pick for the worst draft of the first 2 days of the ACFL draft is going to go to the San Francisco 49ers. They made 3 picks, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, and I hated all of them. First off, they took Judkins, the running back out of Ohio State, who I think was running back 2 on that team. I had late second, early third grade on him. I don't think it's a terrible pick in a vacuum, but once I go over the 49ers roster situation, I think you'll see why I still hate the pick. Next up, 1 pick later, they take Jalen Milroe, quarterback. And again, I did not have Milroe rated high, much lower than where this pick was. I had a third-round grade on him. But I understand taking a shot on a guy. You've got Aaron Rodgers, who may very well retire this year. But I don't know if I love the method about which they went about getting Milroe, which was trading away a future second to acquire this pick. Did not love that. And then they take in the third Jalen Rivers, who I had not a very high grade on. I had like a 4th or a 5th on him. I did not love him that much. And you may look at these picks and say, okay, you know what, they could be worse. But on their current active roster, they have 35 players. They have 2 running backs already, DeAndre Swift and Zach Charbonnet. So don't know if I love spending a pick on running back. They have 2 offensive tackles, Cameron Fleming and Travis Glover. Neither of those guys is above a 73 overall. They have 1 center, Jacob Monk, 65 overall. They have 2 punters on the roster, so don't need to spend a pick there. And just really, you go across the board, and it's a roster very much needing just some actual impactful depth, and I don't think they really addressed any of it. So unless they clutch up in day 3, I think my worst draft is already locked in.
All right. Well, Acorn, I think you were spot on here. I will award you 8 points, bringing your total to 2. That unfortunately leaves us with a
I will
tie at the
take
top.
that.
So I will have to award a bonus point based off your takes. And I think that overall, because I mean, I do generally agree, but I kind of feel like for the Colts where they're at, swinging on the quarterback, I can't knock them too much for that. I'd have drafted Shador in the first. And really anywhere top 10, I wasn't going to argue with it. So I'm going to give our bonus point to JFK. JFK will walk away the winner of our Around the Horn. The floor is yours for a minute to do some random topic you'd like to talk about, as is around the horn tradition, and we'll wrap it up.
Let's go. Okay. What do I win?
This is what you win. You get to talk for a minute. I don't know.
Um,
Maybe a
yeah,
plug for marketmocks.com.
This is not your.
yeah. Check out what he said. The links I've been posting to my draft board. You can see all the players that or at least a lot of the players that we talked about today will be on there. Uh, a lot more of the players will be on next week. I'll be posting the links for you all to enjoy.
Very good. Acorn will start the next around the horn segment with -2 for interrupting his individual time. So that will be noted for next time. But thank you guys for joining me. Uh, and I'll get better at scoring stuff. I felt like I was a little low on the points. So we'll get there. I need to have a way to add it in the middle of your segments without interrupting you. That's gonna be the thing because I couldn't really just jump in and be like point. So we'll get there. But thank you guys for joining us. If you guys, as the audience, enjoy this, we'll hone it in a little better. We'll do some more random topics going forward. But we couldn't really figure out what to do for this organization, so around the horn it was. But yeah, anything else for you guys? Any final parting words?
Will Campbell is a tackle.
Acorn bad.
Acorn bad.
Hell yeah. Good night, everybody.
Acorn